I'm just ready to fucking get fucking started. Let's fucking go. I'm going crazy. Hi guys, my name's Maggie. Welcome to episode 3 of In the Mix. Thank you so much again to everybody who has watched the videos, made the cocktails, given any sort of feedback. Really genuinely do appreciate it. It is such a unique project that I'm taking on, something that I'm still kind of uncomfortable with, so it does mean a lot that you are taking this journey with me. It's very special. So this week I chatted with a good friend of mine, Brian Joyce, otherwise known as Val Astaire, formerly of a band called Major League. Brian and I were friends in Philly, but he has since relocated with his girlfriend and their 2 pets out to Los Angeles. So it was really nice to catch up with him for the first time in a while. And so this week we made what I'm calling the Sweet Medicine, which is a cocktail that I've named after one of Brian's songs on his debut album. So his debut album, Fever Dreams, came out in July. So the Sweet Medicine is a tequila, cider, lemon, vanilla honey concoction, which of course I will show you how to make next. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Brian, and let's get into it. This is In the Mix.
Let's do it. I'm like super excited to try this. I was gonna take a test run earlier this week with everything that you sent, and I was like, you know what? I'll wait. I want to experience it like first.
Oh God. Well, no pressure then on me. So.
Right.
Cool. All right. And you wanted to do the tequila, right? So we've got tequila. Yeah. So we're going to do 1.5 ounces of the tequila. I don't know if you have a proper measuring guide. Perfect. Love it. And just, 1.5 ounces of that. And then I know I had said initially for you 0.75 of the lemon juice, but I think 0.5 is a little bit better because I've sort of been tinkering around with it. So just 0.5 ounce of the lemon juice. And ooh, got lemon juice in a paper cut. Love when that happens. Oh boy. Let's see. We're gonna do 1 ounce of the apple cider because it's fall.
Oh yeah, I gotta grab that.
Problem. I have this enormous, like, what they sell to restaurants sized vanilla.
Oh my God. Something is like $17 from.
$17?
Yeah. Like,
that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So for the vanilla extract, which I have so much of, we're gonna do. It's 32 ounces, the whole quart. Whoa.
Jesus.
We're gonna do 0.25 of that.
Okay.
Or less if you're not a big vanilla person. That's up to you. And then we're gonna do some honey. I kind of eyeballed it, roughly somewhere between 0.25 and 0.5 ounce.
Cool. I'm the opposite. I have a massive thing of honey, and the smallest.
Whatever works. The nutmeg and the cinnamon, you could either mix it in or put it on top.
Okay.
That's up to you. I've been putting a little bit of the nutmeg in it and then having the cinnamon after the fact.
Okay.
Almost. We're doing great.
Doing great.
We're thriving. That would be it. Then we're just gonna shake it up.
Okay. Pop this on. Okay. All right.
Here. Yeah. Let's do it. Straining it over some ice, some fresh ice. And then I'm gonna add a little cinnamon stick. I'm going to just throw that in there. All right. What we got? Cheers. So trying to make like a sour caramel apple.
Yes. That's so
thing.
good.
Cool.
This is like a perfect little holiday drink. Like the cinnamon and yeah, that's gonna be amazing at like Christmas time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Serving up some drinks.
Yeah, so because margaritas are cool and everything, but sometimes you just gotta change it up a little bit. So got creative.
No, definitely appreciate this because now I have something new. Because I think from like we started lockdown March 13th, and I think every day from like March 13th to like August 25th, I think I just drank a margarita.
Yeah. So how is everything with lockdown for you?
Things are good. I mean, I really, it could be worse, like I can't complain at all with circumstances. I mean, I've been hanging out every day with Bree and my and everybody's been good. And we're
good. Everybody's healthy and good.
Yeah, exactly. So like we're healthy, we're safe, we're enjoying ourselves and our time. It's just, I don't know, it's I guess what everybody's going through. Just like that kind of like, shouldn't there be more to life?
Right.
Starting to like panic every once in a while that like, holy shit, I haven't seen any other human being in like 2 months, but
but
the beginning,
hey,
it's weird how it like had its like waves. Like in the beginning, I was a little stoked. I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like we're on lockdown, but we're together, and like everybody's experiencing this thing. So like we're gonna get through it and we'll move on. And it's only 2 weeks, so like it's only gonna be 2 weeks. So come first week of April, we're kicking into spring, and everything's gonna be good. And then it was kind of like then in May, it started to feel like, all right, what's going on here? Are we ever going to get things under control? And then summer hit, and I think like just I don't know, but maybe just like the everyday sunshine was kind of like kicking up some endorphins. I was like, this isn't too bad. I can go for some walks and stuff, and like I'll be all right. And then it's just like the end of summer hit, and I was like, wow, my whole summer was spent just taking walks. Like it's just waves of just like, what is happening? Like,
but you put out an album. In the summer.
Well, so that was super weird too. Was like coming to terms with releasing this during quarantine, because like there was, and I know that every artist, everybody puts so much into their art, you know what I mean, in their work and stuff. But there was just so much time that like went into basically pushing everything else off. Like I like turned down tours. We turned down like any sort of like. Because it was 2019 was like blacked out for like, let's do this like exactly how I want it. Like we went to the first day of tracking was February 28th, 2019. That was like the first day we like really started tracking the record. I didn't finish fully tracking the record until February of this year. Like right before it started. It was like, because we just kept going back. It was like I would get new mixes and I'd be like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling this. Like, can we redo the guitars on this? Like, hey, would we actually be able to add something here? Like, just constantly going through it. And all of us were like, that was the other nice thing about it was like, it was myself, Chris, who's been with me since the beginning, and then Kato, who's an incredible songwriter and guitarist. And like, so it was like the three of us with Brett and Gary, who were the producers and engineers on the record. And so like everybody was really taking their time, which was nice. It was nice to have that team around us that like everybody's kind of like, hey man, I don't know if this is like gonna be But actually, I was listening to it last night, and what do you think about? And it was kind of like, dude, it's not done until we all decide that we're happy with it. So yeah, whatever anybody has any input. And so it was nice having that. It was nice having everybody bouncing the ideas around and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was just crazy that like a year had just been washed of just like, no, we're not doing anything. We're just focusing on the record. We're gonna
Right.
take our time with it. And then we finished the record. I think it was right after my birthday. So my birthday was March 3rd. And then
Yep.
like that week, I got like the, hey, final mixes are gonna be in like at the end of this month. It's like perfect. Like we've got everything done. We can send it out for mastering. And then March 13th, the quarantine hit, and it was like, okay, but we're gonna come out of this. We'll release the record. We'll hit the like.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
And like, yeah, I had like some stuff with Fits and the Tantrums lined up. Like there was like some really cool things that were like, okay, like there's like some really cool things that could be happening out of this, because that's like a whole nother like aspect to this that we haven't touched yet. And
Right.
and then for that to just like quarantine just kept happening, and things started getting canceled, and like things that got postponed, like, hey, we're actually going to shoot for June instead. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Sounds
June.
reasonable.
Like, hey, we might shoot for September for this. And I was like, okay. And then September came, went, and now it's just kind of like, hey man, if we ever get out of this, we should play a show together. Like, it's just like,
Maybe one day, who
fully,
knows?
Yeah, it's just fully turned into like, let's just have faith that we might see each other someday. So,
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of like hard to decide when we were actually going to put the record out, but I think the ultimate, like what it came down to was just like the realization that like this, we don't know when this is going to end or be over. And there's really, at this point, there's really no right time to release anything. And for me, it just kind of felt like if I could just give people something that maybe takes their mind off of it for a little bit. Like this record is very like dream pop. It's very like ambient in certain senses.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, if this is just something that somebody puts on and goes for a drive at night and they feel like they've got a little release out of it, that's fine. Like, let's just put it out for that. And I'm happy with it. And I'm like, I'm still so proud of like what the time and effort we did put into it. So I can't be mad at like, you know, when it got put out. It's kind of like,
and it's a great album. So
thank you.
It is. It really is. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. You've been with me since like day one of this project, so I appreciate that. This is like, I mean, I within the first like couple months of me like leaving my like previous band and starting this whole thing is when we met. And
yeah, it was like
then
2018.
Yeah. So since then, I've been like, I mean, how many nights I like was showing you demos? Like,
right, exactly. No, and I'm very proud to see how far it's come. It's awesome. It really is.
I love it.
So you recorded some of it in LA? Then I'm assuming.
No, in New Jersey actually. You
did all of it in Jersey.
Yeah, so it was in I never say it right. Hopatcong or
yeah, North Jersey.
Yes, yeah. At Barbershop Studios, which I mean that place is gorgeous. It was like
is that the one with the stained glass window? Yeah.
I was like in awe, and I was like, my debut album has to be recorded here. Like I like that's it. It's set in stone. Like I fell in love with the place. It is like, it's just like inspirational being there, because it's this old stone church that like got converted to a studio. So it was a church up until like the 1950s or something like that, and then it shut down. And then in the 70s and 80s, it became like a goth nightclub.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then it became the studio. And it's like there's like different levels to it. There's a bunch of different rooms. And it's just such a cool place. It's just like such a great environment, and especially the amount of time that we spend in there. Like we would wake up at like noon and then get into the studio, have coffee, sit around and bullshit for a couple hours, and then we would start writing and like putting things together. And before we knew it, it was like 4 a.m. And it's one of those places that because of the stained glass windows and stuff, like you're not getting natural sunlight, so you never really knew what time of day it was. And so like it was only until like we're just sitting there talking and playing and like who's doing what, and the next thing you know, someone looks at their phone and they're like, all right boys, it's right after 4 in the morning. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm like,
I gotta go to bed. Yeah.
Like, we didn't even eat dinner yet. Like we didn't, like you just get so lost in it. But that's what I think that was the best part, was like just experiencing that with those guys and like being in those moments where like time just runs away from you. And like we're just creating, we're putting things down. And next thing you know, we're like, oh holy shit, we got 2 songs done, but we've also like that today's done. Like it's like can't even keep my eyes open. I didn't realize I was tired. And so yeah, it's really a beautiful place. It was so great being able to do it there. And I'm like already like even talking about it right now, I'm like, damn, I miss it.
I miss that place. Yeah.
13 there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been in LA now for a year, right?
Yeah, it was a year in September. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
how different does that feel, being like mostly East Coast?
Yeah. I mean, it's been cool. I wish I could have like had like a full experience of living here, because I mean I've been here a million times, and like I've stayed here for like an extended period of time in like 2016. And so like I kind of thought I knew, but actually living here and it being like my home now and whatever else, I did like, I don't know, the quarantine, like I didn't think that it was gonna like affect living here so much, but have started to realize like, shit, I still use my GPS to get around places. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
really?
Like the back of my hand yet. Like I still kind of sometimes I'm like, damn, this quarantine really like put a wrench in things. I thought after a year I was gonna be like, oh, this is this, and we can go here.
Right, absolutely.
Like, where I hang, and like there's like a diner by us called Frank's, and I was like so determined when we first moved here to like become a regular there. Like I was like, I want to like within a year I want to be going in there, and they're just like, we got you on the coffee and like scrambled eggs. Like
right. They know exactly what you want immediately.
Right. And I got to go there like twice, and then it's like,
damn.
So it's yeah, I mean it's definitely been a little different. I can't like fully give like a real opinion on it, because I've also haven't had much traffic. Everybody always complains about LA
it's
traffic.
True.
And it's not gone anywhere since like from like March until now. I'm like, it took like 40 minutes to get to San Diego. And they're like, that's impossible. It's supposed to take like 3 hours. I'm like,
can't.
Home was on the road. I don't know. And so I'm spoiled to that as well. But it's I mean, it's beautiful. I can't complain. It's definitely, I think mental health wise, it's helped a lot, because I've definitely like struggled with seasonal depression on top of like you know, everything else. And so back home I would definitely hit ruts where it was just like, I feel like I'm never gonna make it out. I'm gonna die in my bedroom. Like I just like I was like
absolutely.
So like the sun helps a lot. Like it'll be like 60 degrees during like the winter time, and like but it's still so sunny, and it makes me feel like, all right, cool, we're up. I'm up, I'm ready to go. Like it's helped a lot with like the mental health and keeping me motivated. And it's so easy back home to get stuck in that rut of like, well, what's the point? Just cold and miserable. Why do I even want to go anywhere? You know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely helped with that. So it's been great. I don't know. I love it here. I do miss home. I miss certain aspects. I miss Philly a lot. I like, actually the glass I'm drinking out of is it's a Philly, like a Philadelphia.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Bree got it for me. And it's become like my official drinking glass. Like Philly was so easy to live because I grew up there. And so it was like I knew everywhere I wanted to go. Everywhere, like you could come and visit 50 times and I could take you to 50 different places. You know what I mean? Whereas like when my dad came and when my mom came and when our friend Heather came out, all 3 times we took everybody to the same places.
Really?
Yeah, because we haven't been able to like really figure out anything yet. So it was, I don't know. I'm much looking forward to like actually making this place home over the next like however long. I mean, I plan on being out here for a very long time, especially in Burbank. I just love it here. It's definitely been pretty amazing, like learning things out here, and couldn't be happier with like the neighbors and stuff. That's something that we're like super fortunate with, because when we were up in Jersey City, I don't think we've ever formally met our neighbors in like the year that we lived there.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, no one ever talked to each other. Everybody was so like, just like by the end of the day, everybody just wanted to get in their apartment and shut the door and like not talk. Whereas here, it's like at night and stuff, like we'll go out and sit on the driveway and talk to our neighbors and hang out, and everybody's kind of like, you know, mingle, and it's so nice. It's like everybody's got dogs around here, so like, and it's so funny. Everybody knows my dog, but nobody knows me. They just know me as like Mercy's owner. Like, oh, you're Mercy's dad, right? I'm like, yeah. She's definitely a star. Mercy, come here.
Oh, we got a dog cameo? Oh, please. Oh, yes. Look at her.
Say hello.
I have to come up with pup tails, with cocktails for dogs.
But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been great. It would be so cool though if like we could not be in quarantine, because there's also just so many shows. Like there's so many events to do out here and stuff. We found this one that we like were really starting to dig, which was like school night or something. But they have like local bands play, and it's like an event you like.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just like so cool, and it's like packed out, and like it's like every like Monday night or Tuesday night or something like that.
Cool.
And so it's just like a random thing, but it's so fun, and I would see like so many friends there and everything, and so it felt super cool. It felt like going to like a local show back home, because you just run into everybody there, and it was such a cool environment, and I was like really hoping. That was another thing that like we had signed up for to like play, and I was like, yeah, this is super cool. Like there's like things that I can like get on board with out here and be a part of like the little like LA like indie community that's like
scene. Yeah, whatever.
I think that's been the biggest bummer, is just kind of like, man, so like I was so looking forward to getting like integrated into that community and like with my own thing to offer, and like
So is that like, I'm assuming the biggest reason why you moved is for music stuff, or no?
Yes and no, because it was like I definitely have always felt like just a little more inspired out here. I just feel, like I said, I don't know what it is. It's just like the sunshine makes me feel like I can get up and do things, and but I was looking forward to that, and I've always wanted to be out here, especially in Burbank. I've always loved Burbank specifically. And then Bree actually had an offer from work. She works for the Orchard. And which is like a distribution. And so she had an offer from them to like relocate if she wanted to. And so when that prospect got brought up, it was kind of like, well, what should we do here? And we talked about it. It was very like nonchalant, like, man, it'd be sick if we can go out to LA. I'm like, and then we brought it up again. And then it was like probably like a month and a half before we moved out here. It was like that.
You're just like, why not? Yeah.
I was like brushing my teeth one night where we got to go to bed. And I was like, I was like, you want to just move to LA? Just go out there.
Just like, do it.
Just for the sake of us just doing it once. You know what I mean? Like, even if we don't stay there forever, or if it's not. Like,
if you hated it this year, you could have come back.
Yeah. I was like, just throw everything in my car and just cruise out. Like, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Do it. Like, we're young. We might as well. Like, life will always, like, we'll always be able to come back. So.
Did you make a proper road trip out of it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We went up to Chicago first to go visit her family. And then we drove like straight down and across, like basically followed Route 66. And we just like cruised on out, and we took our time a little bit, kind of. I kind of just wanted to get here, but
yeah. You still made it the scenic route.
Yeah, we like still took the scenic route, but I was very like spoiled in the sense of like, I've already seen the middle of the country. I know what it looks like. Let's just get there. Like I just wanted to be here. I was like, we're paying for a place that we're not at yet. Like I just want to get there.
That's true.
So
yeah.
I rushed the trip a little bit. There was definitely things that we could have stopped. And like in theory, when we were talking about the movie, we were like, then we'll stop and we'll watch the sunrise at the Grand Canyon. And then like, that day came, and as we were driving, I was just like, we're skipping Grand Canyon. She's like, I'm just trying to get that. If we skip Grand Canyon, we can cut 6 hours out of the trip. And like, she's like, all right, I don't care. So that's on our bucket list, though. We'll go back and we'll hit all the places that we
you could have done.
Here.
You seem so happy. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I am. I really cannot complain, especially like given the circumstances. I feel like I definitely feel fortunate.
You mentioned a little bit of like when you used to tour and whatnot. What do you think touring will look like whenever we're allowed to go out into the world again and be normal humans to some extent?
It's so strange. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know. I really don't. Like, I'm not sure. I feel like people like have already started to like kind of spearhead the experience. But what is actually like, what does the actual future look like in reality? Like, especially for kids who don't have cars. Like most show goers, especially for like, I don't know, especially for up and coming bands and stuff, are usually people who don't have cars. You know what I mean? It's like the preteen to 19-year-old age bracket that are going out and discovering new music and stuff. So what are those going to do? Because are their parents really going to want to sit in a car and, you know, watch like a hardcore band for from 200 yards away? So it's definitely a strange idea to think about. The other thing is like, I'm a very big fan of international touring. Like I love the experience of overseas and the culture shock and playing in different places that like you get to experience like a totally different culture and everything. So for me, like I've, especially like with Val Astaire, that's all I've really done so far. I haven't done any US tours. I've done overseas stuff, but that's kind of it for Val Astaire. And so I've already started making an overseas kind of thing happen. And now to think about it, like, yeah, I don't know what overseas touring is going to look like because one, they're not going to let Americans go.
We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything.
And so like that on top of, I just think that like overseas business is going to become, at least in my opinion, I think to start off allowing like international things to happen again, it might be just high priority stuff. Like they might not look at international touring as like, they might look at it like, look, we have our own artists over here. They can tour.
Right. We don't need you.
Yeah, we don't need you right now. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry that you can't sell your new album or your merch over here or whatever, but like, it's just too high of a risk. And that's like the interesting thing about what's going to happen internationally because we're kind of confined to the US. And then on top of that, with the US being like a state by state mandate, it's kind of like, all right, well, you might have to skip certain states. You might have to, then it makes the program super weird. And like, it's interesting. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. It definitely makes things pretty nerve-wracking when I think about like getting back out there. Cause that's my favorite part. Like I love writing and being in the studio and stuff, but that feeling of like getting up there, I can still like, even now not having done it for over a year because took 2019 off. So like having not done it for like a year, I still get giddy when I think about that like 10-second walk from side stage to like center stage and stuff. And like, I'm like, I just want to feel that again. I want to feel that excitement of like, I'm about to just walk out to like faces that I've never seen before. And like, it's just like that excitement of like being able to play this stuff and something that started as like an idea in the shower come to fruition in front of like 100 people. Like, I don't know. I long for that, but at the same time, it's so scary thinking like, I don't know, you might not ever do that. Like,
who knows? Who knows what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, it's really weird, and I'm interested to see as well how the bands that are doing the drive-in experience, to hear their opinion on it. Like I'm interested to hear how they felt not having like a crowd interaction of people jumping or people like singing back,
honking their horns, I guess. I don't know.
You're just like flashing high beams, like just,
exactly.
Of approval. Like I'm interested to see like what that experience is like for them. Like, how did you feel? that dictates so much. I mean, I've played some really shitty shows where like
Right.
the having no interaction from people really affects like, oh God, I just want to like crawl in a hole.
Right. Yeah, you get in your head about it.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Like, how did you hype yourself up to Cars? So
Yeah, right.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Have you
definitely
done any virtual tours? Sorry to cut you off.
No. So I did some stuff for Adobe Radio.
Yeah.
And, which was really cool. It was really fun. And it was really nice that I played some old songs as well from Major League and stuff. And so it was fun to like kind of like bring back that, and it was here in my home, so I felt like pretty relaxed and comfortable.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but at the same time, again, it was like
You're not getting that.
like I'm like sitting there like this trying to read comments.
Yeah.
I think I just wasted 2 minutes trying to read comments, and then like so on their end they're just seeing me squinting awkwardly.
That'd be very intense.
Yeah, like is he gonna play something or what? Like,
Yeah.
and so like that's another part of it that I think has been kind of weird, and why I haven't done many of the virtual things, because the other side of it is like for my stuff, it's like Major League stuff. I could have definitely like everything can be broken down to acoustic. It can be broken down.
Yeah.
I can play a stripped down version. With the stuff I do now, like a lot of it we start with synth pads. A lot of it we're starting with like when we write this stuff, the initial idea in mind is like, well, we start the song with like super huge drums, like do like a taiko drum type sound, like whatever else. So then to like emulate that acoustic, I'm like, well, here goes nothing. And it's just like this thin layered guitar. Like,
right.
Because a lot of this stuff it's very like indie pop, indie rock, like a lot of it's layered stuff. And so it's been hard to kind of figure out like, yeah, I can play anything stripped down and sing over it, but does it give across the entire persona of what this project is in the first place?
Right.
So, otherwise, I'm just reimagining songs. I'm rewriting stuff. And so that's the only reason why that I haven't really dove in too far into like doing more like live digital performances and stuff, because I just don't know how to do it without kind of losing the entire attitude and personality of the project.
Do you think that like sonically you're gonna change anything? Not change anything, obviously you have a very specific sound, but now that the first album is out, reflecting on that, anything you would do differently or ready to like grow from?
Definitely. I think that it's interesting that like having had quarantine and having to sit and like be inspired by more things than usual, because normally in my everyday life I have so many things going on and this, that, and the other thing, that there's like very little time to sit down and just dive down a YouTube hole. You know what I mean? Of just like sending things and whatever. So I've been able to do that, and I've come across things where I'm like, oh my God, that's a really good idea. Or like just like even getting like learning things. Like I've been like learning like, you know, recording seminars and like whatever else that are like programs, and tuning into certain things where I go like, that's actually really interesting and I would love to incorporate that on the next album. Or like I want to do something that's kind of like that, or sample something like this. So it's definitely broadens like the possibility in my mind of what I could add, because from like Major League to Val Astaire, it was a progression of like, okay, I did like the rock thing. I have like guitars, drums, bass, like, and whatever. And so I'm incorporating all that into Val Astaire, but also adding some samples and also adding like a lot of like synth and some dreamy sounds. And we're going to like thin out the guitars a little bit and not be so heavy guitar driven, and make it more about like the melody and like the vibe and stuff. And then from there, now it feels like the natural progression is like, okay, now let's advance that even a little more. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely broadened my perspective being home and getting inspired by things to kind of like, and also like, I don't know. I just think that it's definitely going to open up the possibility of like, I feel less afraid to experiment with things now. I want to figure out before we do the next thing how we can incorporate like something that adds a different element for everybody.
Yeah.
And keeps it a little interesting, and keeps it interesting for us, because it'll be nice for us to like, I don't know, be in a different environment, and feel like we have something like new to work with and whatever else. So it'll be cool. I'm very interested
Yeah.
to see where things go with that, and how we take it on. Yeah, it's been crazy. I've had like a lot going on as well. I don't know if I told you or if you know, but I like started my own label.
I do know. Of course I
Yeah.
know about the label.
Yeah, so that's also been like kind of
How
like
is that going? What is that looking like, especially now?
yeah, so it's actually like that has been my behind the scenes inspiration lately, because I haven't felt the I haven't felt compelled to like really like let me sit down and start writing the next record type thing, because everything just feels so up in the air. And this out like Fever Dreams just came out 2 months ago, and so it still feels fresh to even me, like, because as far as that album goes, like I hadn't really like, once we decided on final mixes, I didn't listen to it until we put out the record, because I was like, I want to feel like a listener. I want to feel like so like once I put it out, I was kind of like, okay, now I'm really feeling it like as it. So it still feels fresh to me. Like every once in a while, if I put on like my daily mix on Spotify and one of my songs comes on, I get like, nice, yeah.
That's cool. That's great. Yeah.
Like I'm still reveling in it a little bit, and so and so I haven't really felt creative enough to like start writing something new just yet, because I'm also like very conceptual when it comes to the albums and everything. I don't write just to write. Like I like to sit down and really take my time and like, here's today's agenda on like kind of being inspired and stuff. So the label has helped me preoccupy the other side of it, where like I've been doing creative director work for a couple bands that hopefully will be releasing their stuff as well through the label, but we actually just got distribution through the Orchard.
Nice.
And which is fantastic. That helps us so much to have like a platform like that to help out and be able to have so much more reach on the releases.
Absolutely. Are you focusing on any one specific genre for the label, or is it just sort of anybody that sounds good?
Yeah, so it's so ESI stands for Eclectic Sound Incorporated, and it's like that's what I want it to be. I don't care what it is. I don't care, as long as it's something, as long as you believe in yourself and I can believe that you believe in you, then yeah. There is no like homie discount with like friends and stuff like that, where it's just like, yo, dude, can you put out my thing? It's kind of like, you guys don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just gonna put your stuff out.
I'm not just gonna help you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like because I'm like fully invested into this. Like, there's like actually like money being pumped into this. So like, I'm like taking my time with it, and I want to make sure that like, yeah, you're worth investing in. And I like, so yeah, like I don't really, there is no agenda with it. There is no like, I'm doing this so that me and my friends can eat type thing. It's kind of like, I'm doing it because I believe in you, and I think that like you need to be uplifted to another level. And especially now having like the Orchard distribution and stuff, like that's something that like, I don't know, I feel like I just got like the answers to the test kind of feeling. Like,
yeah, totally. You cheated the system a little bit. Yeah.
We got something we're not supposed to have. Like,
yeah, right. Totally.
So it's cool. It's cool. The other nice thing is to be taken seriously by the Orchard. They have been super professional and super like very accommodating when it comes to like integrating me into their process and getting into like the workstation of things and explaining things, and like everything is very meticulous of what they need. So I never feel confused on that kind of like, here comes the airplane here.
Right.
Like that, it's that kind of feeling. And then on top of that, Bree working for like, you know, in this industry and in that world for so long, anytime I have questions, I'm like, hey, can you help me with this?
Help me.
Like, help me. And she just like turns the computer, clicks something, and turns it back. I'm like, oh, it's submitted. Like,
cool.
She's been crazy helpful with everything. And
Awesome.
it's been so nice. And like the team that I've been able to bring in with this whole thing. My friend Heather, who works for Listen to the Ladies and now does like PR for ESI. She's like a juggernaut with that stuff. She's so good at like getting things, and like she has her connections, and she's so well spoken, and so she's so good at like putting together the press releases and everything. So I'm like really fortunate for the team around me. And
Yeah.
Shout out to the ladies, because I feel like they all run it for me. I'm like this like idiot over here that's like, please help, I'm just a little
guys. Yeah, right.
Like,
Right.
they've been crushing it. So like honestly, like all praise goes to them. They're like absolutely killing it.
That's awesome. I just got in my ears that my headphones are dying, so all that effort that I put into using them and making them work, now I have to turn them off. So
my drink.
Me too. I finished mine a while ago. I felt bad.
I feel like the drink being done and the headphones dying
it's a good finishing point. Yeah.
It's all we read from the scripts.